Hi everyone. I really wanted to do a little concise little review over a Netflix docu-series that I think is very low key right now. Not a lot of people are talking about it. I don't know if a lot of people have seen it or a lot of people are giving it a chance. It is called Cheer, and it is the best docu-series that Netflix has done outside of their true crime division. Like Making a Murderer, Genius, The Keepers, the Megan McCann docuseries, which is so really good. They have the corner on that market. There, is that how you say it? The cornering that market. They got that market cornered. So yes, this is probably one of the most emotional journeys that you will take through a docuseries, and let's get into why. First and foremost, I really want to let you know from the top, if you don't have a couple hours to binge on this, at least 3, I think, then maybe you should wait. And I know that time is luxury, and luxury is time, and not a lot of people have it. But if you really want to get the full effect, the full emotional journey, the highs, the lows, 2 episodes that will obviously have so many elements that are tear jerking, and of course the ending that has such a twisty, turny, just a huge twist at the end that you won't see coming, and it's like, I can't even. Um, if you don't have enough time to go at least more than 1 episode, because the first episode is very informational. It's setting the foundation. This is what competitive cheerleading is. This is what we are. So first and foremost, that's what I want to tell you. Now, I had never really paid much attention to competitive cheerleading. I didn't know that it was a sport that was so probably the most athletic sport there is. So yeah, and the most dangerous, and the way that the sport just naturally breaks the body down. There's just not a lot of. There's just. I like sports like tennis and gymnastics and ice skating stuff, football, basketball. Most of these sports, you can have a pretty long career and a pretty lucrative career, especially tennis. I mean, you're getting prize money, and it's a sport you can be in for a long time. Cheer, I think you might have 4 years max before your young body starts to break down as you age, doing the reps over and over again. It's really incredible. And there isn't anything after collegiate cheerleading. There's not a pro level. There's not like an Olympic event. The Daytona National Cheer Association Championships is the big tamale, and we visit a college. I am so sorry, you guys, but I'm not gonna stop. All right, you visit a college, Navarro College, in outside of I believe Dallas, in a town called Corsicana, Texas. And this place, it's a small town, it has this great vibe going for it, but it is the place to be for elite, prestigious cheerleading, and only the best of the best. They take 40 kids, and only 20 of them go on the mat. Now, when you're on mat, that's like a terminology thing that you're going to learn about. Completely wonderful thing. All right, let's get into the second part that I wanted to talk about why this show is so amazing. So we follow a collegiate program for 1 year as they perfect all the skills they need, the choreography, the music, everything, to go to the big NCAA championships in Daytona. That's the big event. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. They work a whole year for just that amount of time. We are introduced to the entire group. There's 40 members. 20 are selected to be on mat, which is the ones that will be competing. And there's a lot of twists and turns. Just because you're on mat doesn't mean you're going to stay on mat. So just be there with me. This show affected me so emotionally. They spotlight about 5 to 6 young adults, plus they spotlight the coach and what she's went through. And she is probably one of the most amazing people I've ever seen interacting with young people. If anything, watch this show to see where young people, teenagers, young adults are at in 2020, and everything they're dealing with, from abuse, neglect, You really, the message of this show is that we are all on one team and we're all cheering each other on, and we're all going through it. Some of us have come from the gutter, some of us have come from nice little family homes, might have looked normal from the outside. Maybe things weren't so great on the inside. You see that these are elite athletes. These are the cream of the crop, probably some of the most talented people in the country. And all the nerves, all the anxiety, all the stuff they put themselves through. And we are all going through it. And the only way we're going to get through it is together. And there are so many kids that are spotlighted. One, Ladarius, his story really affected me beyond belief because I don't want to cry. And Jerry as well. Um, Coming from such a hard life, and he says in the docu-series, I'm not gonna let him win. I'm not gonna let him win, and I relate to that. But I let people who did me wrong win, and I just didn't have the strength of Ladarius. Jerry's story, the loss he has in his life, and the people that take him in, and and then you have Lexi and Morgan, who was abandoned by her father. He chose his wife over her and her brother, and they were left. He bought them a trailer home and left them to fend for themselves their whole high school career until their grandparents came and got them. Her story is just out of this world. And then there's Abby, who the show kind of makes you think she's like the breadwinner of the family, and all the pressure that comes with to sustain a career outside of your peak, because she's starting to decline a little bit. Although she's very, very talented. I mean, she's probably one of the most talented on the team, but that's where that view is skewed from. And then there's Monica, who is the head coach, and then the two assistant coaches who have a major storyline it was as well. Because this is 6 episodes, it's 6 hours, so there's a lot that they go through. The way that Monica, oh my gosh, I don't want to cry. What Monica does with her elite squad is she is more than just a coach. She's a parent. She is someone who, as you go through the documentary, helps her team, bonds them as a family. There are so many people like Lexi who came from such a violent experience that it's hard for her to open up to others, but by the end they are fully locked as a unit, as a team that will have each other's back through the thick and thin. At one point, someone says, "I will die for Monica," who is the coach. And her story and what she's been through to get her program to this elite level, it gives you faith again in the world, really, because we all know there's not a lot of economic, social climbing left in our economy. Pretty much social media and followers and influencers are where it's at for young people, really. And I hope they all benefit a millionfold for being on this series. But what Monica does and how she sets them up for life after cheer and gives them goals and structure. And she's very firm, but I just can't say enough about Monica. So let me stop there and think about what I want to say going on. So I took a lot from this show. I took a lot of life lessons from this show. I love when they pump each other up by saying, "We can, we will, we must." It's just a wonderful mantra to repeat to yourself. There's a section where they're at a restaurant where on the wall it says, if you something about like there's only so much torturing a man needs, and the rest is just showing off. Ugh, there's so many good one-liners. Another one I like is, I'm looking at my phone. When I look down, I don't have anything. I don't have any paper. I'm not looking at anything. But this time I do. Sometimes I just look down at to gather my thoughts. But there's a part where Monica tells them when they're doing their full outs, which is going through the whole routine, because at the beginning it's all about conditioning and building up to where they can have the muscle memory and not be injured and be stronger. And she says, you keep going till you get it right, and then you keep going till you can't get it wrong. I love those sections. Again, this was such a life lesson for me about And there's not a moment that this show doesn't. There's so much this show covers. Little slices of life. What it's like to be discriminated against. What it's like to be told from your college professor blatant lie, about, because in Texas they have to take regular government and then they have to take Texas government, which, I mean, we all do our state government or whatever, but this is a very interesting, I don't know, maybe it's accurate, I don't know. When they film that, you really just feel kind of sick to your stomach about that whole thing. And then, really, again, all the crap we're going through, the abuse, there's so much abuse and neglect that these kids come from, and they're still persevering at an elite level. I don't know how they do it, but I think it's a commentary at where we are at right now. We live in a time where with so little room at the top, and so much addiction and abuse and poverty, and it just is such like a pot with all the ingredients being ones that will come out with this delicious meal that is all pain. And what these kids go through emotional turmoil wise, I mean, everyone looks at cheerleaders and thinks they're prissy little preppy thing. This is not what that is at all. This is not your little high school cheerleader popularity thing. This is life. And this is life at high stakes, because one little mistake, they work a whole year for 2 minutes, 15 seconds on that mat in front of the judges in Daytona. Just think of the pressure of that. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. And it takes them a year of training to get there. And all the sacrifices they make, all the things they miss out on. This is going very long, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of things that I wanted to talk about, because I don't take notes. I like it to be very raw when I'm rethinking about this. But you gotta watch this. And the thing about Monica is that I love her because no matter what, you gotta give them hope. You gotta give these kids hope. You gotta set them up for something greater and better. Because cheerleading is, once that Daytona competition is over with, it's like, if you're moving on, you're graduating, what's next for you? And I love that the alumni come back to cheer on the new group. And I love the family. I mean, so many times these kids refer to each other as family, and they go through it together. And some kids are so talented, and an injury will take them out, and you think, well, that's their best flyer or their best stunt, or how are they going to adjust and adapt? And that's what Monica is so great at. Everything that comes at her, her preparation, her life views, her strong confidence in her values and morals. This show deserves so much more talk than what it's getting. I didn't say half of what I wanted to say, but I said way more than I needed to say. And like I said, if you don't have enough time if you're only going to watch one episode, I don't think you should even bother yet. At least do 2 episodes. 3 would be better. I couldn't stop. I was up all night, or all day. I don't know what. I don't really remember the schedule of how I watched it, but I just couldn't stop watching it because I had to know what happened in Daytona. I just had to get there. I was too invested in these kids and these young adults and these coaches and all the other teams that are featured too, a little bit of what they're going through, that I had to watch it all. And like I said, best docu-series. It reminded me of Friday Night Lights, which was obviously a scripted show, but every episode of Friday Night Lights just made you feel, and this will make you invest in the entire team, because out of the 5 or 6 that get spotlighted, there's still so much footage with the other peripheral members of the team, And I wish I knew more about those kids, and that's why I think they need to have a second season. They absolutely have to have a second season. And I'm going to stop. This is probably 15 minutes long, and I don't care because I am going to stand for this show. You guys will just love it. You'll love it. If you have a dry eye at the end of the show, then you might not have a soul. Just saying, just kidding. But it's a show for everyone because it's not really about just cheerleading. It's about persevering and surviving. And we can, we will, we must. Yeah.